mic'd up with Mikey Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J Mitch. We got Jackie Boy.
He tried to jump up, and he might have knocked it in.
Good time, dude. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad Jones, 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think I'm going to practice today. And I was like, I look back and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for
Good
the
show.
I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle?
My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should
Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now.
Hello, hello, hello. Today is technically Thursday, February 27th. You will be listening to this on Friday, February 28th. I'm going to say that instead of trying to trick you. We know you're all smarter than that. But we're probably going to slip up at some point and say last night
Get out
instead
in front of it.
You know, I'm just going to be honest with everybody. We got a lot going on Friday, so we're recording and we're going to post it on Friday. This game is going to be a majority of a recap of the Wednesday night game against Dallas Baptist. First big challenge for LSU baseball throughout the course of the year. Obviously, they were 7-1 going into the game. They are now 8-1. Dallas Baptist was a top 20 team. It was the first ranked opponent LSU has played. Also, the first road game LSU has played all year. Technically, I guess it would be called the neutral site game, but Dallas Baptist is in Dallas. The game on Wednesday was in Dallas. So first big test, passed with flying colors. A lot of good things, also a lot of things that we're going to have conversation about that need to get better. Also questions about some of the ways that they either tried to get runs or tried to manufacture the runs, or some of the calls that were made and decisions that were made. We're going to get into all of that. And also we're going to preview the weekend round robin, I guess you should call it, with LSU in Frisco. They play Kansas State Friday night. Then they follow that up with Nebraska on Friday. Then they follow that up with Nebraska on Saturday, and they close it out with Sam Houston on Sunday. A lot of really good things to talk about from last night's game. But real quick, before we go there, let's go through these headlines a little bit. Not many of them. Football news. Bo Davis. Going right down the street to New Orleans. Good for him getting to the NFL. Obviously, he is one of the better defensive line coaches in the country. He gets moved on to the NFL. Not great for LSU, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. I know people are insinuating that Kyle Williams resigned from Ruston up there, high school, as a coach. I don't think that means he's coming down here, but maybe, who knows? I don't think that's the case, but they're definitely going to have to replace Bo Davis as a defensive line coach. Who that's going to be, to be determined. We will obviously talk about it as it comes. But right now we're in baseball season. LSU is coming off a weekend series, but their first loss of the year against Omaha. A lot of people were having a lot of questions and concerns about the offense. I think the offense, we talked about a lot about this on Wednesday. The offense is going to be a work in progress. It's going to continue to get better. I thought that the offense was going to play better yesterday or Wednesday and throughout the course of the weekend. I think they did in spurts. I think that you watch them. I think that, they had 12 hits. They scored 7 runs. But there's also a lot of things to be that need to be better, right? Driving guys in, not leaving as many guys on base. I think you said, they left 15 guys on base?
Yes.
Against DBU, they had bases loaded, I think, with no outs 3 or 4 times.
Twice for sure.
Twice for sure. I think 3 times. Definitely twice.
Jared?
With no outs. But and twice they did not score a run, which is not great when you do that. But we're gonna get into that. Jay, welcome to the show. This is like the normal Friday show, so we're going to be.
He's in the theater.
Yeah, he's in the theater. The theater. We're gonna be nice. A quick little sprint to this. Jay, did you watch the game last night?
I mean, I think Cajun-omics got me because no, I did not watch the game. It literally went out pretty much almost as soon as I left.
Yeah.
So, no.
Cajun-omics.
I only had box score to see.
Yeah, they screwed Cajun-omics up. They really did. They messed up. Not just Cajun-omics, all the LSU baseball fans, because they're attacking Cajun-omics now. We got to figure out a way to bypass that.
Oh yeah, they were fussing at us on the old Tiger drop.
We talked too much.
Said it was our fault.
Our fault.
Yeah, because we said his name too much.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's our fault. This happened before we started naming him.
And it was, where's Mikey from? Oh, Lafayette. Maybe he has ties in with.
Oh, he thinks I'm a spy. They think I'm a spy.
I think you're in deep state.
Yeah.
So
that's not the case.
Kind of on you. And they're like, wait, where do you want to commit to? Alabama? Like, this is all making a lot of sense.
They didn't say that. You just made that one up. You just made that part up.
I posted that part.
Yeah. You just adding fuel to the fire,
absolutely.
Huh? All right, let's get to the game last night. Not Jared. I am going to talk to you about this, Jared. But LSU wins 7-3. They have 12 hits. They leave a lot of guys on base. They played really good defense. The only 3 runs they gave up were on homers. 2 big homers, like monster homers. But other than that, they didn't give up a ton of hits from pitching wise. I think they only made 1 error, which was an error that I think did they call the Jared Jones ball at first base an error? I don't know if that's what the error was. I can't remember if there was another error in the game. But that came off of a diving play by Dickinson at second base. Gets up, makes a good throw. Kind of one of those low sinkers to first base. Jared Jones should have caught it. Probably would admit 100 times out of 100 times they got to catch that. Doesn't. Then the 2-run homer makes it 5-3. LSU adds 2 more runs to it, make it 7-3. And then Kason Evans comes into the 9th inning and absolutely slams the door. Literally no chance for DBU. There was no, I wonder what's going to happen. Oh, we got some pressure. Oh, heart rate gets elevated. No. It's, hey, here's 100. I'm coming right at you. Here's my banger of a slider. You got no chance. 3 up, 3 down. Boom, call it a day. So great first big test for LSU. Great passing. I'd give them an A on getting through it. They never trailed in the game. They won by 4 runs on the first game on the road against a top 20 opponent. So it's really all you can ask for. But moving forward, they're going to have to do some of the things better to continue to get these types of wins. Jared, what did you like from what you saw and what you've kind of heard about the game that you didn't get to see since Cajun-omics got nabbed
3 times?
Yeah, man, the 15 left on base is, I think it's fair to say it's troubling, but we kind of knew this lineup was going to have to kind of round itself into shape a little bit as the season went on. There were some things that we're going to tinker with, some people that kind of wanted to figure out how we're going to put them, where we're going to put them, and, how we're going to do it. So, we kind of knew that was a thing already. what I love to see is that this is another 13 strikeout, 3 walk performance by the pitching staff, which is kind of allowing everyone to know that even in the step up in competition, like it's not some let me shrivel away or let me shrink in a little bit because there's better players here. It's no, I'm still coming right at you. I'm still suffocating the zone. I'm going to be all in the zone. And what are you going to do about it? And you're seeing guys who have above average to elite stuff literally just dominate the hitters that they're facing right now. So I really love seeing that because I think for a bunch of new guys that kind of came into the system, for a bunch of younger guys that maybe have never pitched at this level, things like this to me it's important because it'll rain heavy as you get into even better competition and you can kind of fall back on early times and remind yourself like, no, this was the recipe to success. And all I got to do is continue to just suffocate that zone and the good things are going to happen. So I'm actually loving seeing that part of it for this LSU squad.
Yeah, I think, with the offense, it felt like you saw Jay try to get things going, right? Nice, good call. Look at that. Look at that savviness by you right there. It feels like it felt like Jay was trying to get things going and try to spark the offense and doing all of these types of things by bunting, suicide squeeze. Not a lot of it worked. He pinch hit a lot early on in the game. I think they played 15 position players in the game. What's your feelings on that? Because I know how I feel on it, and I think this is a good discussion between all three of us on how we have. Look, everyone's got a different approach, right? Everyone's got a different way of winning games, and they ultimately won this game, and it wasn't really close. I mean, they got to 2 runs after 1 inning, but then LSU responded and scored 2 more, and it never got within 4 again. How do you feel about how you approach that? Do you like having all those guys? It's nice to be able to know you got guys off the bench that you're confident in, but at the end of the game, with the bases loaded, you're relying on a guy that doesn't have a ton of career at-bats because you pinch hit a couple times early on in the game.
Yeah, so look, I'm with you. Like, it's nice to know that you have those toys right in the toy box. That's cool. That's great. But I think the biggest indicator for me that kind of shows you where the lineup is right now is that the person you slotted someone in a 3-hole who, without it being hurt, who without them being blown out and or blowing someone out, had 2 at bats. And then you pinch hit for him, and then you also pinch hit for the guy that pinched hit for him. So 3 different people hit in your 3-hole in a 4-run ball game. To me, that shows that I'm not really that settled in on my lineup. So I do think, kind of like we talked about before the game, I was keyed in on trying to see what's going to happen in the middle of the lineup. And I think the questions are still there in terms of how are we going to round this thing out and be able to protect Jared and be able to kind of support the top half of that lineup.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think the top half the lineup has been, well, at least the top 2 guys, right? Curro had another great game. I think he got on base 5 times last night. He's walking a ton. Started the game off with a walk. Then Jared Jones had the ringing double. And then you get to after that, right? Then you get to you have a guy on second base and no outs in the first inning after scoring a run, and you don't get him over. You're not able to get him in. And you go out, and that's kind of an empty – I want to call it empty possession, really. Like, you have an opportunity with a guy on second base, you're middle of the lineup up and no outs, and you don't score the run. And so that brings the question, how are you going to be able to do that throughout the course of the year? Now, look, they had 12 hits. They swung the bat really well. Jake Brown swung the bat really well, got 2 hits, but then he got pinch hit for early on in the game, right? And then the guys they bring in got some hits, and then they had to get pinch. I understand why he's doing it after the fact, but it's early on in the game. And it feels like, okay, this guy's got 2 hits. I mean, how do you feel in the game when you start the game off your first 2 at-bats, you got 2 hits? Like, you feel pretty confident. You feel pretty confident about getting some more hits. Doesn't matter who's throwing.
Money at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, and I'm not a head coach. I never wanted to be a head coach. Jay's got.
I thought you were going to say head case.
No, well, I am head case. Jay's got way more experience doing this stuff than I do, right? But, as a player, it's like, hey, you got your 2 for 2, and you got, not just like bloop singles, infield singles. You got a double down the right field line that was hit really hard, and then a nice line drive to center. You're really on some balls. it'd be nice to see that guy get 4 or 5 at bats and be able to grind through some of these at bats. And then the suicide squeeze, the bases loaded, popped into a double play. I'd get it. Pearson is your guy. He's a senior. You trust him to get a bunt down. He did it earlier in the game, ended up being a hit. But he pops it up. Stanfield does what he needs to do. Stanfield felt like he almost was at home plate before he even bunted it. It was wild. And then the bunt gets popped up, and it's a double play, and it just kind of crushes the inning. And so those things are going to happen. But then you have to ask, like, was that the time to try that? Right? I think you're up 4 at that point. Instead of letting your guy try to get it down. It's just, look, it's easy to look at it after the fact. I am more of a proponent of letting these guys swing it, especially when you have the lead and you're trying to add to it. I'd rather let me get this guy to give an opportunity to get a single and drive in 2 instead of having a suicide squeeze and get a guy in. But like I said, that's my style of play. It doesn't mean it's the right style of play. It's a conversation piece.
Yeah, I'm not just like my last little bit on that part, I guess. Like I'm not here to question Jay and the decisions that he's making in the end game and all of that stuff. I'm just thinking and once again, it's not necessarily comparing this exact player, but I just don't ever remember early on in the year in 2023, the guys hitting 3 and 4 hole, they're not getting 2 at bats, whether it's 2 hits or 3 pitch strikeouts, and then coming out of the game. So that tells me right then and there, all right, I'm still trying to work the kinks out and figure out exactly who works. So that lets me know he's still trying to find out how am I going to match this lineup up and how am I going to make this thing roll and kind of keep passing the torch to turn the lineups over.
Lloyd, what do you feel about it?
I was not as up in arms about it. Certainly, I can see the queries, right, that people are upset about the bunting and how frequently it happened. The suicide squeeze, I thought you had the right guy at the plate. You're trying to get one more run. You're up 4. You want to get to 5 so that one swing can't tie the game if you ever get in that situation, so everybody can breathe a little bit easier. So I think that was the thinking going there. If we can get one more, and then you can kind of look back and be like, okay, at least it's a 5-run lead. You have the right guy on third. You have the right guy at the plate. I think that's a great in-game baseball call. But the continuance of, I think I'm more on, I'm with Jared and you, to have your 3-hole guy, you have 3 of them. And I get that you want to get people at bats, but maybe that's somebody that you don't know if you have the right guy in the 3-hole then. That's where you had that conversation yesterday about how the lineup was configured, and it becomes a little bit, it becomes an interesting debate because that's the meat of your lineup where you want guys that are coming up that that you trust and can get hits. And instead you had a guy that did it, right? Brown's 2 for 2, and I understand they want to work people in and try to figure out who your everyday guy is, but at some point, and this is the conversation we had last year, at some point you go to the ballpark and go, am I going to get yanked? What do I have to do to play?
Well, his question is, man, I went 2 for 2.
Right, and it's does it even matter?
It's and it's not like he is an all or nothing guy. He's got 1 strikeout on the year. I know he only got 21 at plate appearances, but 1 strikeout, right? So he's making contact and he's making solid, great contact. He's hitting 381 after last night's game. He's doing everything that you want him to do. He's athletic. He can run. He can play defense. It's just, when you're 2 for 2 at that point in the game, it's okay, let's let this thing ride. Maybe it's going to work out, right? Let's not worry about maybe the matchups as much right now. Let's see if this thing works out. And then if it does, great. And now you have other guys that you can plug and play later on in the game, And so,
and then not only in the 3-hole, you did it also in the.
I was talking about Jake Brown right there. He wasn't even in 3-hole.
6. Yeah, he was batting 7th.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. Maybe, and I think another person that was continues to impress every time he gets an opportunity is Ethan Fry. The way his bat to ball and the way he can swing it, and that's somebody that you could possibly see that has enough pop to be able to put in that protection spot of Bear Jones. That's a name that you might start throwing in the rotation, whether it's at DH or and in the outfield. I think DH probably suits him best. But that's you do have it. Jay's biggest problem is he's got too much talent, and it's how to figure out who to play when and what to play where. I'm sure he has. I'm not even sure. I know that he has a strategy, and I'm sure he's looking at more analytics than we are.
For sure.
And this is all not based off willy-nilly. I'm just going to go I'm putting him in because I want to see him play. It's
right.
This matchup works here for this, and then. But at some point, it does become a little head scratching for 15 people to play in a game that you won by 4 runs, so you're comfortable. but it never felt like you were as comfortable to be able to play 15.
Right. And so it's just, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how he navigates through that. You know,
Also,
a lot.
real quick,
go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think it's a testament to how much faith he has in the pitching staff.
For sure.
Like, I think he knows that if he gets 4 or 5 runs in the game, like bump it up to 7, like we shouldn't lose any baseball games with the staff that we have. And you saw that at the back end when you have
well,
Case and Evans come in.
And I'm going to get to that.
Yeah,
but I wanted to mention, because people were kind of getting mad at me about the Luis Hernandez comment I made
he ain't done shit
on Wednesday, right? They forgot to mention the yet part that I said. That I said he hasn't done shit yet. But I did also say it looks like he is starting to. He's about to get hot because he had a few doubles the last game, a couple of games in Omaha and against Omaha and against Nichols on Monday, and then last night just missed hitting a homer, and then laser sacrifice fly, but it was a laser line drive to center field. Seems like he's getting a lot more comfortable, which would be a big asset to the lineup, and adding another powerful bat, which we also talked about on Wednesday. So, you know, I think him getting hot and him starting to swing the bat like we expect him to, or he expects to, I think it's going to make a huge difference for the lineup and for scoring runs.
So after yesterday, small sample size, right? What's your thoughts on that lineup construction? Obviously, there's a big debate about it yesterday between you two, and you see it bear fruit almost immediately in the first inning where you get 1 run off the.
Yeah, but the argument wasn't the top 2 guys,
right?
The argument was after, right?
And Dickinson comes up with the big swing.
But it's and Milam how many hits did Milam have last night? A couple?
2 for 5.
But it wasn't like doubles or homers or, it was just, 2 good at bats. I still think that, I like Milam at the top more so than the middle. I like Curry. If Curry's going to get on base at a 561 clip, I'm good with him being. If he's going to do that, I'm good with him being hitting leadoff. And Jared Jones, look, double scores him from first base. Obviously he's in scoring position the minute he's on base because of his athleticism and how fast he is. But what can't happen is Jared Jones hits the double and then he just gets stranded out there. I think that was the argument, right? Dickinson had a really good game. He got on base, I think, 4 or 5 times as well. But the argument was after. And so, yeah, it didn't really ease. I don't think anybody's concerned on, okay, what's going to happen after that because you left so many guys on base.
Is it an anomaly to think that with, 15 left on, 7 of which happened with your 9-hole hitter up? And it's obviously that Stanfield, you want him there for a reason to be able to turn the lineup over. It's the old adage, like, double leadoff, where you have him at the bottom, then you come back, now you have speed everywhere with, and I guess in a perfect world, you have Stanfield on, Curiel on, then Jones is up, and you're like, okay, we can run for days like this. And, like, he can get almost any hit can score 2. And I'm just wondering, like, how often do you think, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, is there 7 guys on base with your 9-hole hitter up, like throughout a game? Obviously not at once. Jay,
you want to answer
that? You were kind of breaking up, so I kind of couldn't really hear. How often is it that a 9-hole hitter
has the opportunity to leave 7 runners on base? Like he came up and there was, I guess, both times it was with the bases loaded. And he ends up leaving 7 on, but I'm just wondering how often that happens to a 9-hole hitter. Like, is that just an anomaly?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, that's not it doesn't happen a ton. I would say, and it's kind of weird too, because I would say, obviously, I think we can all agree, if you're 9-hole guy, and it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter what type of hitter he is. It doesn't matter what power or speed that he has. It doesn't matter. If your 9-hole is a guy that's either leading you in RBIs or always getting the RBI opportunities, then we're not doing a good enough job in the middle and at the top of the lineup as well. And I'm not saying he can't drive in runs as well, but that just shouldn't be, that's not something you find a lot. So, yeah, I think it's an anomaly. I don't think that's something that you're going to see a ton, but it is something that you're going to want that as the season goes, if these become the opportunities who we have in these spots, needs to be able to produce a little bit. But that goes to what we were talking about. Like you score 7, you had 12 plus hits, you beat a team by 4 runs, but you also still left 15 on base. And it goes to show you what kind of team they could possibly have if they really start getting middle of the lineup production. And that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, because here's the deal. I think you mentioned it, you alluded to it a little bit. The 9-hole guy is not going to have that many guys on base if the middle lineup is doing what they need to do. Like if the guys ahead of him are driving guys in, then there's not going to be as many people on at the bottom of the lineup and it's not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but it's just one of those things where you want the guys in the middle of the lineup driving those guys in. And I think, to Jared's point, it shows you what the team can be. Right? You can look at it one of two ways. Oh, man, we got to panic because they're not driving guys in. Or, man, look what we did. Our pitching staff's so good. We scored 7 runs. We got 12 hits. And we still didn't really – we probably had a C-plus game. Maybe a B-minus game offensively. B-minus probably.
Yeah. Offensively.
And we didn't even scratch on how good we could possibly be. But, like you said, I think he's leaning on the pitching staff a lot, which is a good thing, which last night was to their best hitter. And then he gets out the game. Cohen comes up, gives up a 2-run homer, and then after that, that was it. All runs they scored off were 2 home runs, and the pitching staff locked it down. Cohen got it to all the way to Case and Evans, right?
Yeah, he went.
And then Case and Evans locked it down.
And Case and Evans being able to throw. How many pitches do you think he threw in 2 innings for the class?
20.
22.
And they're electric.
And
electric pitches.
He was that dominant to the point where Jay was asked after the game if he like the thought process of putting Evans in that situation, and he was like, first of all, we put ourselves in a position to win a massive game for us at this point in the season for RPI and all of that stuff that I don't know anything about, but it was a big time win because I think RPI translates to the amount of wins that the team has that
it's
you
like
beat.
the Ken Palm for basketball,
right? And you beat probably a Conference USA, at least the team that's won it the last 2 years. You're able to secure a win. They're probably going to win 30-plus games. And so that helps your RPI, and it could be something that bails you out later in the year because the SEC is a gauntlet. But I think him putting Evans in that situation kind of showed the importance of the game at that time. And then for Evans to
how much confidence he's got.
Exactly. And for him to go 2 innings where you're like, okay, he can kind of extend a little bit. He's not just a 1-inning closer. And to get through it in 22, and once he came in, the door was shut.
Yeah, there was zero elevated heart rate. Like, oh man, this may
get dicey.
Yeah, never. And that's what you want to see from the closer.
Right. So Jay brings him in, and then he was asked if he's burned, and he was like, no. He only threw 10 pitches in the second inning. So he's like, he will be available this weekend.
Because he got day off on Thursday.
Yeah.
And then you've got Kansas State on Friday, which is going to be a big game, right?
Yeah.
That's another RPI builder. Because Kansas State's a pretty good team, beat Arkansas. You'd imagine the Big 12, they're going to put themselves in contention there. They're going to throw their ace against LSU, so that's going to be another one. I don't know if he's going to be available. I would imagine he is available for Friday, but he's definitely going to be available through the weekend. But they only use 3 guys, and I think that's the beauty of having the depth of the pitching staff that they have is because when you do have to play 2 midweek games, and you're able to go Connor Ware start. Zach Cowan coming after him, and then you end it with a guy. You only have 3 pitchers. Like that's huge for the weekend, and that's huge for navigating the SEC. Jay,
huge for navigating the SEC. Huge for navigating your first big weekend, like you said. Going through the midweek games and not having to go Johnny whole staff, not having to use a ton of guys keeps pretty much everybody in your pen fresh for the weekend, which. If the starters go out there and throw like they've thrown, you are able to really backload the back end of games by being able to kind of throw guys out there who are fresh, and you're not worried about the pitch count is real low. I can't run them up there too high. You're able to get the maximum, ability out of these guys, and it's been cool seeing this staff be able to kind of navigate that way through the first couple weeks of the season because. Those are the things that I look at as it's been down the road and you get into the schedule and into the SEC schedule. Those are the things that this team has struggled with over the past couple of years. Those are the things that have kind of been the Achilles heel and that's kind of held it back, if you will, over the past couple of years. So it's cool to see that they've seemingly been able to kind of address that so far. And I want to know how it's going to go and how it's going to kind of play out through the rest of the year.
Yeah. It's impressive. Jared Jones, Daniel Dickinson, Stephen Milam. Really, let's go to the top 2 guys right now in the lineup. I guess power guys. Jared Jones and Dickinson, right? Jared Jones has 10 walks, 3 strikeouts. He's and he got hit by the pitch twice. So 12 times reaching base by free pass, only 3 strikeouts. And that team's trying to pitch around him, right? That team's giving him a lot of breaking balls. He's hitting 414 on the year, right? 3 doubles, 2 homers. Power numbers aren't going to blow you away because he's not getting a ton of opportunity to do that. And then Dickinson right behind him is he's got 5 walks on the year. He's been hit 5 times, only 3 strikeouts as well, right? So both those guys are kind of taking what the pitching staff is giving them, not trying to force the issue, but also when they do get an opportunity, taking advantage of it. Milam's only got 1 punch out. Curiel's got more walks than strikeouts. So it's a team that is getting on base and not striking out a ton, which over time you would imagine that's gonna be a really good thing for LSU.
Well, that's what makes me think that. So I kind of brought up the 9-hole thing because they're getting a lot of people on, but there's not a lot of thump, I guess, throughout the lineup at this point. It could be the ballpark, could be playing in a big league park, but I did see whoever it was, the guy that was needs to be tested for Dallas Baptist hit one to the moon in the
both of them hit
upper
to the
decky, and
both of them.
And so there was that park played with an aluminum bat. So I do think that because of the things that you just laid out, like Dickinson obviously sneaks one over the left field fence, but the way that they constantly put pressure on you and keep people on base no matter where you are in the lineup, I think that there's going to be more opportunities at the lower half of the lineup for people to produce. And so I don't know if it's strictly a Stanfield thing, but how did Broswell play? Batting ahead of him.
Did not
0 for 3.
Yeah.
And then you put in Mike Ryan, 0 for, and Costello 0 for 1. So that's kind of more of what I'm looking at, because then you had Brown 2 for 2. You put in Mick Paul 0 for 2, and then John Pearson with the laser.
Well, and that's the other question. If John Pearson keeps coming in and getting those hits,
left, where do you put him?
DH. You put him in
It's
there.
not even so much getting the hits too. Like I did get a chance to kind of go back and see that. It's the way he's doing it too. Like he's swinging the bat with authority, and it's some solid ass, loud ass contact.
No doubt.
So it's not like he's coming in and we talked about presence. We talked about somebody being able to show up in the middle of the lineup. It's those kind of at-bats that make you go, uh-oh, what is this?
Yep.
And if he's able to keep doing that, then we got something here. Yep.
No doubt. He's looked really good. He's looked confident. Like you said, he's swinging the bat with some authority. I mean, that ball, they didn't have like the exit velo. At least they haven't made it known, but that ball was peppered. His double down the right field line, I guess a few games ago, he let the ball travel, barreled it to right field. Like, very, very advanced hitter, and I'd imagine they're going to continue to find ways. And if he continues to do that and show that, he's going to keep getting more at-bats, because that's a guy you can't really keep out of the lineup. And if he can give you a different aspect to the lineup. So that's an encouraging thing to see. All right, for this weekend, they play Kansas State. Obviously, they're going to have more opportunities to continue to build off the game yesterday. For me, I really just want to see the pitching staff continue to stay status quo, fill up the zone, throw a bunch of strikes, not give free passes. I would like the offense to take that, continue to progress. Look, yesterday or Wednesday was a better game offensively than they've probably shown throughout the course of the year, because one,
opponent
competition was much better. You had double-digit hits, you had 7 runs, and you had the opportunity to score 10, 12 runs if you cash in on just a couple of those opportunities of runners in scoring position. I would like to see them over the weekend maybe cash in on a couple more of those. You don't have to do it all of them. It's a hard game, but cash in a little bit more on those opportunities of runners in scoring position. I feel like with that and the pitching staff, you're gonna end up having a very successful weekend.
And just some information on Kansas State. Oh, go ahead, Jay. Oh, I got you.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, because I'm not as familiar with Kansas State's game as I don't think anybody is. I think a lot of this tournament, I know this wasn't a part of the tournament, but a lot of going into this weekend was focused on Dallas Baptist, because it was your first real test. Kansas State went to Supers last year.
Yep.
And they lost, I think, hold on, what was the number? I'm looking at D1 baseball. But they lost, I believe, 15 players from that team, so he didn't expect
Ron Burgundy?
Burgundy. I'm still trying to find it, but it was something like that. Regardless, go 3-0 before this tournament, where they beat TCU and Arkansas, and TCU ranked 22 in the country. Arkansas obviously number 5 in the country. Like, that's a legit, like another legit. Like, I didn't know they were that good. I didn't even know they went to I remember seeing
What's their
it now.
record right now?
They started off 1-4, so now they're 4-4.
Yeah, but with 3 really good wins, or 2
Yeah.
really good wins over the last weekend.
But I think that's why I wrote them off, because I saw the record. I was like, oh, never mind. But now to see those wins that they stacked up, it seems like it's going to be another great test for LSU.
No doubt, and you know they're going to throw their Friday night guy. They're going to throw their ace.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's going to be a challenge, which I like LSU going into these tournaments because of that. Right. You're playing teams that you're not familiar with. You play in the SEC and the talent's really there, but you're familiar with them. Like, it's familiar territory. If you've been at LSU for a few years, you've probably played these teams. You don't play Kansas State. You never played DBU. And all these teams are trying to go out and they're gunning for you. Like Doug said on Wednesday, is these tournaments, you're going to face everybody's best pitcher because they want LSU's the big name and they want to beat them. And so I think it's a good test for LSU before SEC play.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest part of the entire thing. Honestly, you're going into these kind of tournaments, and like, make no mistake about it, man. Kansas State, who just came off of beating Arkansas in some game, like, they're looking at this like, oh yeah, this is a big statement game for us. This is something for us to show we're not here to mess around. And for where they were last year, like you said, Lloyd, they're in a super. This is a business trip. You beat Arkansas.
And I'm trying to see what Kansas State's record was. I mean, who they played. So they lost to Washington 9-2. Our guy from LSU is the head coach there. They lose to Coastal 8-3, and Coastal's obviously lose to Coastal. They lose to Coastal twice, and they lose to North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
So they've played an extremely tough, I would argue probably the toughest schedule in the country so far. North Carolina is obviously was the Omaha team last year? Yeah, Omaha team. You have Coastal Carolina, who's always in the postseason. They won the World Series a few years ago.
Came to your house.
Came to LSU. Yeah, I know it's a sore subject. And then UW. UW's they've been good, and I don't know how good they're supposed to be this year, but they're not a bad squad. And then they beat Arkansas, they beat Michigan, they beat TCU those last 3 games. So they are feeling good going into Friday.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning just because people, I think, are going to – the reaction yesterday during the game. This fan base is unhinged. It is unbelievable how everything is critiqued so much. Every pitch, every swing, every ground ball is something that they just want to bitch about. It's like, baseball's a hard game.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before the show. It's like, I've never seen, like, is there a more, like, scrutinized sport than baseball? And Mikey's like, yeah, it's because at some point everybody played baseball and they all think that they have an opinion on it because they all played it. And I was like, I guess that's right, because not many, like you said, not many people played football, or not as many people played football or basketball. Every white kid down here played baseball, and they all want to talk about it. But can we not just be a little bit more positive about what we're seeing? You win by 4 runs against a top 20 baseball team.
No doubt.
And I know you could have scored more, but like, can we focus on the positives a little bit?
Listen, there were a lot of positives to take out from the game. I understand some frustration. I think LSU's fine. I think you saw progress in that. I'm still looking at this Kansas State schedule. You know what's wild? They started the season. They played Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
5 straight?
They played 5 straight games. Now they went 1-4 in those 5.
Ugh.
But it's pretty wild. They played 5 straight games before last weekend. You don't usually see that in college.
And do you think that?
Yeah, that's a lot, especially out of the gate too, man. That's a lot of games, a lot of innings. It's a lot of getting used to actually having that like real game.
Yeah,
you don't usually see that,
and especially playing who they played. It wasn't like, hey, there's 5 easy ones. These are all like either Omaha or regional teams that you have to play. It's like, okay, let's line it up, I guess. But one more thing about the LSU, just offense and what you saw. Do you think that this fan base will be able to wrap its head around what's happening? Because you haven't seen the style of baseball at LSU, I don't think, really not in the last. I mean, it's branded as gorilla ball, and people still hearken to that. And now you're seeing a lot more speed. You're seeing they're
gonna have to
the double steals and a lot of bunting. And I know people aren't the biggest fan of bunts down here.
Listen, if they win, I think it's going to be okay. But I think you're going to see, as the season goes, you're going to see a little bit of a happy medium. I think the offense is going to get going a little bit more.
Weather's going to get warmer.
Ball's going to start flying out. And the offense is going to get comfortable. I think you're going to see them be able to put up runs in a bunch of different ways. It's not all going to be small ball. I can promise.
Yeah, I don't. It's definitely not all going to be small ball. You gotta let the guys get comfortable. Let them get kind of sunken into where they are right now and understanding what they're doing. It's not all going to be small ball. Like that's just not going to happen. This is still going to be LSU's brand of baseball. I'm very okay with that.
100%. All right. Sprint to the finish line. You want to get a pick to click for the weekend?
Oh. Wait, how big is Frisco? What are we working with here?
The ball. Don't worry about it. The ball can go
normal baseball field.
Normal baseball field. Probably going to be a little windy. It's in Texas.
Texas. Forever. I think I might steal yours.
How do you know?
Because you've been talking about him, and I think this is a great opportunity for you to pick him so you don't have all the backlash that you received on Twitter for saying he stinks.
I didn't say he stinks.
Yeah, done shit. Yeah.
Yet.
Luis.
They forget that one.
Yeah.
I think I like that pick.
I figured
wasn't my pick.
Yeah, I figured. So I can take another.
No, you can take it. You can take him. I mean, somebody's picking him.
Yeah.
All right, so you got Luis Hernandez. Jay, you got one?
For the weekend, or for game one?
For the weekend, because we're not going to have another show
until Monday.
Jake Brown.
Ooh,
I like it.
Brown.
I like it.
Swung it the way he swung it. Lit a little fire on him, too, by coming out of the game. Jake Brown. Give me Jake Brown.
I like it.
Is that 0 for 2 for you right now?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm going to go Milam.
Oh, that was going to be my second pick.
I think Milam is, I got hot last year. I think he's kind of in that little, streaky. He's had three good games in a row. Yeah, I'm going to go Milam.
Since that Omaha loss, he and Jared Jones are, their numbers are insane.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm going to go Milam. You got Luis Hernandez. Jared's got Jake Brown. I got Steven Milam.
And do you think you see Cade tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yes. Cade Anderson?
Yes.
Cade starts tomorrow. I think they keep the rotation the same.
He was asked about this, and I don't know if you saw it, but he was asked about because they throw on the same day.
Right.
And if you're going to make a switch, there would be no hurt feelings here as to I want to move him to. It was more of a conversation about who wants to be the number 2 guy. But if you're moving Shores, would you move him to 1 or keep him at 3? Or move him up to 2? Does that even matter? To get those 1-2. I think.
I like the 1-2 matchup.
I think Ianson's done.
And Ianson's done amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. But it's. I don't know.
I think they keep them the same, man. I think they stay right where they're at.
I think so, too.
I wouldn't do anything to mess with the pitching.
I'm trying to fix it. I think they keep them the same.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Who do you think you see bullpen-wise? You saw your horses yesterday.
Everybody, dude. I think they're going to throw.
I think Rizzy. I think Rizzy's going to be the first one out.
You're still in the part of the season where they're. I'm not saying that they're trying to get work, but they're not. No one's really extended, especially the bullpen guys. So the last thing that they want bullpen guys doing out there is throwing 35 plus pitches. You're going to see everybody, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Rizzy's going to come out first guy out the pen on Friday. I'm trying to think who else I like. I mean, you're going to see everybody. I mean, there's no
Guidry, no Schmidt, I would imagine, because Schmidt started the midweek.
Yeah, but he started Monday.
Oh, it was Monday. You're right. So possibly.
Maybe you see him on Sunday.
I'm just going through.
Saturday or Sunday, unless he wants him to continue to start on midweeks.
So it would be your allotment of Cade Woods, Jaden Newt. You saw Cooper Williams for a split second. If you blinked, you missed it. Jacob Myers, who makes me nervous as shit.
Yeah, but you're going to see him. He throws hard.
He does. And you still have DJ Primo.
Yep, definitely going to see him.
Last time you saw him, Jay was all smiles. Connor Bench, Chandler Dorsey, yeah, they still have arms. And then Rizzy, obviously, and Grant Fontenot, who also makes me nervous as of now.
But also throws hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're
Dome
going to
that
see
kid
you're
up.
gonna see them all. You're going to see them all.
Not for a lack of arms.
Not for a lack of arms. All right, that's all we got for you in this beautiful Thursday/Friday show, live from our studio and in Indigo Papers.
And Indigo.
Office. And I was trying to make it not sound like that in Indigo.
The holiday Indigo.
Yeah, enjoy Mardi Gras weekend. Enjoy the festivities.
Off
Enjoy
Monday?
the carnival. No, not off Monday. Oh, do you want to be off Monday?
What's Monday? No, I don't know. We got too much to talk about.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
If something
I'm
comes up-
not going to any Mardi Gras parade.
I'm retired.
Look at Lloyd with the grown-up decision.
Yeah,
Wow,
no
what a
Mardi
guy.
Gras, no Mardi Gras parades for us.
If my brother still lived in New Orleans, you wouldn't see me until next Wednesday.
Yeah, but he
at
doesn't.
6:05.
I'd be worried
Yeah, but
that
guess
you were
what?
dead.
He doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't want to hear it.
All right, that's all we got for you today. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can't watch us or you don't like watching us and you like listening to us anywhere you get your pods. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Jay, enjoy the games this weekend. Give us a first-hand look at what they look like in person. All right. Yeah.
Oh,
nope,
yeah.
Not the.
I wanted the fireworks.
Not
I
the
thought we got him
fireworks.
back. I thought it was coming back.
Yeah, fireworks. You didn't have a good enough show apparently from your computer. A firework. They didn't say it wasn't good enough. All right.
Need more.
See y'all Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Drink a hand grenade for me if you go to New Orleans.
Still, yeah,
Peace.
hand grenade still plays.
I hate hand grenades.
No, but when you're
They're
a kid,
disgusting.
they're delicious.
Disgusting.
So much sugar.
So much sugar. Hangover Central.
Yeah.
All right. Love you. Peace.
At 15, though, they slapped.
Never had it.